Okay, well this is a good example of what often happens during the rainy season is like branches and trees fall down. And this little tree that fell down over the trail. So we're gonna have to clear that because I'm heading up that way. Cloudy. Oh, quite a bit of rain these last couple of days. Heavy rain at night, usually. We're crooked again, I think. So I'll just leave it. Ooh, I'm far away, eh? I wonder if you can even hear me. Well, what I find is when I'm far away, you can hear the birds and the frogs. There's frogs over there. Insects, burbling water. Beautiful. Got the boots, the rubber boots, wellies on today. When it's wet like this, I don't usually wear my moccasins and leggings, you know. These are kind of the same thing, but just rubber. I could have waited a day or two to come get water, but I just felt like coming up today. How's it looking? Pretty good. Hard to tell because the plastic's all scuffed up now, but I don't see any bits floating around. Then the rain, when it gets really heavy with rain, of course the little pool back there gets full of debris and things, you know. It's usually fine, like it hasn't been raining in, I mean it stopped maybe like 4 or something last night, so that's quite a few hours for it to clear itself out, you know. In my experience, that's good enough. But I've mentioned this on my water walks before, but I would never come up in the rain to get water. Partly because the trails can be so slippery, and when you've got 20 kilos of stuff on your back, you know, on a steep trail, all that stuff. So just better not to, and almost always I can adjust my busy schedule to come up. There's some weeks where I think, what do I do with my life? I just go for a walk for water once a week. That's sometimes what I think all I do. Yeah, I make guitars, but I haven't, to be honest, I haven't made a guitar in over a year. Believe it or not. Because I have to sell some and I have to get materials and anyway. So maybe I'll sell one, but hope so. Anyway, this, I can feel there's something about this time of year, the rainy season. Feels like the middle of winter in like colder parts of Canada, or colder and wetter. Like you're just like some areas of Canada where it's just beautiful and snowy, and like Banff never felt that way, but it's cold and dry and beautiful. But anyway, yeah. So I found this my sixth rainy season, and there's a certain point, like July, August, I guess, or anyway, where you just kind of go, ugh. It's beautiful still, don't get me wrong, I love it. And I really like the rainy seasons now, but it does kind of wear you down where I live, right? Because it's very humid. And even though I do a good job of plugging leaks and stuff, there's still water coming into the house and in spots that aren't really a risk to the structure, so I just let it go. And during lighter rains, all the leaks are fine. It's this heavy deluges that whatever's blocking the open spots, kind of, it gets through. It's alright though. But yeah. I've been thinking about something. I mean, the reason I wanted to come up today, because I'm just in a bit of turmoil, internal turmoil. I don't really like to do this sort of thing, like, you know, my dear diary. But maybe I can link it to something other than woe is me, right? 'Cause I don't like doing that. And I, for better or for worse, I get irritated when people just complain about their lives, and so there I go doing the same. Anyway, whatever. But how about this? It sort of reminds me a bit of a Jordan Peterson. I reference Jordan Peterson all the time. It's like he's great, and he hasn't been active much because of his own health issues and his family and stuff. But so I'm referencing older stuff. And don't get me wrong, there's lots of other people I find super interesting in their discussion of the current times and all kinds of things. But anyway, this specific one is, by just the way it is, something that Peterson was talking about. If you get it right. Anyway, this isn't going to be quite right, but it's something like people will put up with so much. Like, just people are, in general, of course, we're capable of dealing and getting through so much difficulties. Like, whether you name it, right? It just goes on and on. But he said something like, one thing that is almost, that people can't bear is kind of maliciousness, you know? And I'm not thinking of maliciousness here exactly. I'm thinking more in terms of respect, you know? You know, respect taken for granted and, you know, that sort of thing. Maybe it connects. Anyway, I don't know. Usually, sometimes I say, oh, I'm not going to put this up. But maybe I will. We'll see. Online, you know? But the internal dialogue, I'm not going to be specific, because I'm still working it through, and it probably doesn't even matter, but in the bigger picture. But I felt like a line was crossed last Friday, and I felt hugely disrespected, right? And anyway, whatever. I'm just talking about how I feel, right? Just take it as that. Don't take it any deeper, you know? I wasn't attacked, I wasn't nothing, you know? But it did, I ended up feeling like, man, this feeling of, I just kind of go, you know what? I give so much and get nothing in return. Oh, just saying it sounds ridiculous, right? I get lots in return in this situation, but anyway. But my main point is that it just spins around, right? I'm finding this sort of thing, and I've experienced it before, where it'll just spin around, and it takes some effort to let it go, you know? Of course, one of my techniques is to go off into the forest, and I've been doing that since I was a teenager. And it works really well. This one's taken this is my second voyage into the bush, so this one's taking a little longer. But yeah, so I'm not gonna deny my feelings on it, but it's not what I want to focus on. So what I want to focus on is the effect it has. It's so little and simple, but huge, I think, you know? I don't know. I actually don't know. Full. Full to the brim. Let's have a drink of water. What was I talking about? Yeah, so, I don't know, what do you think? I gotta work this through. This is you're all my psychologists to maybe. Whoever's watching. Oh, gosh. See what I mean? So the worst part of this whole thing is the patheticness of it. I just think, oh, it's so pathetic. Anyway, it's probably something we all deal with and have to go through at whatever time, once in a while. Okay, and here's another thing. I did a funny post, right, on Facebook. It was about bringing back the Neanderthal revolution. The Neanderthal, I forget how I put it. Anyway, but part of that is me thinking, oh, I just want to go back to the Middle Paleolithic days when things were good. When my last life on Earth was like 30,000, 40,000 years ago. I don't know, maybe it was. It feels like it sometimes, but anyway, I'm losing my mind. Maybe that's the whole thing, is losing your mind in the rainy season. It's like stories you hear of people in the northern bush, you know, in a cabin, snowed in, can't get out. Although, let me finish the thought. And then kind of going wonky, right? But one problem with that kind of image is that actually wintertime in the north is a great time for getting out and about. Because everything's frozen, right? So you can get your snowshoes on and travel to visit people. And I know in the Arctic areas, closer to the Arctic, right? Subarctic, Arctic areas, that the wintertime was when people did a lot of visiting, I think, you know, got the dog sleds out. The ocean was frozen, lakes, rivers could travel easily. So like when you're traveling, okay, here's a good thing. Oh, how's this for my therapy? Just think about being out in the northern wilderness in the winter. Oh, it sounds hard, but it's so beautiful. Like, for instance, this is in cold weather, even though everything's changing. But if you're out and everything is well frozen, right? You don't have to worry about falling through ice and stuff, although you do have to worry about it, concern yourself with it all the time, but nonetheless, we'll just carry on. Is that, like, you could say you're pulling a toboggan behind you and you got your snowshoes on, like, you can go through the bush, right, but it's really, if you're alone, it's really difficult. But easier if you have someone ahead of you breaking the trail, you know? Yeah, but anyway, but if you can get yourself onto a river or a lake, the snow is compacted. A lot of times it's blown off, right? Because it's more open, so a lot of times the wind will blow it off, so it'll be thinner, it'll be more compacted. So often those are like highways for travel in the winter. Oh, it's such a relief too. And often that hard packed snow, if you've got a toboggan, but it just kind of goes zoom, like hardly any drag at all. Like, you might be carrying 100 pounds behind you, but it just kind of skips across the crusty surface. In an ideal situation. Yeah. But of course, the issue with river ice is that it's always flowing, right? So you got to really be aware of where you're traveling, right? So you need, if you're going to a part where like like the river's coming down and opening out into a lake, you need to, generally speaking, would need to avoid that bit because there's more movement and stuff. Anyway, so you got to know the terrain is the bottom line of that one. If anyone's wanting to do that. Yeah, what else? Anyway, I had this idea of doing a book. A story, at least. I don't know about a book. Maybe, about a person's me is trying to find their way back to the old Paleolithic days, the hunter-gatherer days, right? Like, this character has had enough with the industrial, agricultural world and wants to go back to then. You know, many would say, oh, that was a hard life. It's like, yeah, I guess so, I don't know. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't, right? Is life now hard? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Oh, but people didn't live so long. It's like, yeah, people did live long. It's just that statistically they lived to like 30 or 40, right? But that's the statistics, because the death and childhood deaths were fairly high, I would say. So you know how stats work. So, but I'm sure plenty of people lived into their 70s, for sure, 80s even, 60s definitely. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. It's not about how long, it's about how, right? How do you walk through your life, you know? Anyway, this is something that's been with me a long time. There's this movie called Alpha. Oh, I just wanted to see it, so my mom and I went to it, and it's about I think they weren't Neanderthal, they were Homo sapiens, I'm pretty sure. But it doesn't really matter, but it was like 20,000 years ago. Edge of the ice sheet kind of thing. Edge of the ice sheet. Europe, somewhere, and it's about a young man, I guess, a boy into young man, you know, and it's on a hunt, and they do a buffalo jump kind of situation. And anyway, there's this adventure story with him, and he befriends a wolf, right? And that wolf, the idea is that wolf becomes the beginning of dogs living with them. That's the gist of it. Anyway, but for me, I was just like watching it, and by the end of it, I was just in tears, right? It was so moving to me, and my mom was like, "Oh, okay." Oh, is it because you missed the winter? I mean, oh, I do miss the winter, believe it or not, but not so much. But no, it's like no, this is like, I feel like I'm looking back into a past life when I see something like that, right? So I see it and feel this incredible longing. I don't know what other word to use, but longing. Yeah, I don't know. It's, maybe it's true. I'm looking to see if anyone's coming, because it's really weird when people walk up at me and I'm just talking to my knapsack. Well, the camera's here, but from a distance it probably look like I'm talking to my pack basket. I'm sure the people already think I've lost my mind. This crazy old woman living in... Anyway, it's a nice image though, I don't mind that. If that is the perception of my existence here, I'm pretty okay with that. Anyway, whatever. Yeah, so if there is a past life thing, I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't really matter, but there's something that I find, like, I see stuff like that, or think through stuff like that, or however you want to, whatever angle, right? And I just feel such a deep longing and desire to, like, go home. That's how it feels, right? I just want to go home, you know? Anyway, so this story I thought was like, this person's finding a way. Let's presume that there's such things as reincarnation and stuff. For fun, let's just presume that for this thought experiment. And so this person is looking around for some belief that allows people to go back in time, to reincarnate back in time. Simple as that. I don't know. It could be a comedy, easily. It's like, okay, they found a religion that, oh yeah, you can go back in time. It's like, okay, great, this is the religion for me. And believing is all you need, right? In which case, you just believe it yourself. Anyway, I guess. But you can't make up your own religion, that's a cult. Which is true. So, let's see now, where am I at now? What a mess, eh? Oh, Jesus. I bet you walked into this video and had no idea you were going down this rabbit hole. Leave anytime you want. At least I'm laughing now, I wasn't laughing earlier. Anyway, whatever, eh? Yeah, so that's it, and then well, I don't know, that's a pretty short story, I guess. Person walks around, finds some sort of belief that will let them go back, and then, I don't know, what do? Just wait their life out and then go back, or they do themselves in right then and there and go back? Yeah. Could be a very short story, maybe like one paragraph. Or the person could have adventures along the way with horses and things. That sounds like a much better story. So I have this, it's a short few paragraphs of a story connected with my horse rides in a way. You know, I was writing some fictional things, and I used to recite this before one of my songs, right? And that could be part of the quest for going back. It's kind of a post-present kind of scenario, you know, where things have degraded seriously, and this woman, me, riding around with a few horses, Anoil, Wishka, what is it? Anoil, breath, Wishka, water, Ancanach, the moss. They're Irish names, of course. they're not names, they're things, right? But the horses, I name that. And we're roaming around and on our own. That's probably the story I should write, actually. The adventures of this person with no name. Went to the desert on a horse, person with no name. Good to be out of the rain. Yeah, I won't be out of the rain for a few months yet. Anyway, so yeah, I guess I'll pack up and start walking. I want to show you what my solution to that tree falling down for now, and I'll talk about that then. So anyway, obviously this is, whoever's watching this, you're my therapist. Feel free to send me a freaking bill. Don't make it too much though, I'm on a pretty serious budget over here. Okay, anyway, see you in a minute. Ciao. Okay, here we go again. I was just thinking about, you know, reincarnating back in time. My friend Eric, I just don't know where he is. He was living down the mountain, but I noticed the place he's living is now for rent. So, but we usually just bump into each other out of magic, you know. Anyway, it's happened enough times to make me go, oh, this is interesting. Anyway, I was sort of just chatting with him about, he's like one of the few people I could ask about that. I could ask Gung, I could ask Eric. Anyone who I feel like I could discuss the ins and outs of forest spirits and mountain spirits. That's who I would go to, anyway. Yeah. So he said, oh no, I think it's possible to go back. It's like, okay. But then Gung said, no, I don't think so. I think it just goes forward. It's not necessarily linear, right? We don't want to get into thinking that, you know, it's the way time is, the reality of time, right? Anyway, whatever. I guess I'll find out at some point. Or not. That's the case, maybe. Anyway, so where was I? Yeah, well, okay, so one thing I wanted to mention, this whole idea of, you know, say being respected, or I guess maliciousness is a different thing. But the idea of it is it's really my interpretation of that, right? It doesn't necessarily belie the intention of the person or the people that I perceived as doing that. And I think that's probably the case here, right? But then it's my interpretation of like, wow, I just do so much and get nothing back. It's like, that's a frame of mind. Yeah, I'm not gonna say it's wrong or anything, but I will say it's, be careful with that one, right? You don't want to wallow in that too long. Fun as it is to wallow in for a while, right? Woe is me, oh, I'm so oppressed. Can you imagine? Oh, I'm so oppressed. It's like, what the hell? Look where you live. True. I'm not oppressed. I never think that, right? Well, I mean, the thoughts cross my mind once in a while, but in general, I never think I have anything but the most interesting life, at least, and great life. Adventurous, meandering, God knows where it's going to go at any one time. Anyway, I'm going to flip this so you can see the forest instead of me for a bit. There we go. Soaking wet freaking forest. Probably doesn't look that much different than it ever does, right? Because you can't feel the air. It gets so thick that it feels like you're walking. You can feel the air, the thickness of it. Yeah. Anyway, let's see if we can find that branch that fell across my path. Anyways, it's really helped me. I feel a much better frame of mind. Thanks so much. Like I said, send me your bill. Oh geez, not everyone. I don't know. Maybe. Okay, here's what you got to do. You got to get together. Like if you all send me $100 bill, that's it. I'm done. So don't do that. That might not be so bad because on YouTube I normally have like 10 views. Well, it's still a lot of money. But anyway. It's not like I have a million subscribers. Although if I had 1 million subscribers, you could send me a bill because I'd be making some money from YouTube. Anyway, I'm gonna cut this out because we're gonna get a bit slippery just right here. It kind of goes down and it's mossy and slippery. I'll be back. Oh yeah, here it is. It's funny, looking at it now, it doesn't look like much. Well, I did a little video when it's coming up, so I have to be careful. So look where I'm going. Super slippery. Okay, so we got this small little tree that came down. Doesn't look like much, I know. But it looked big because there are branches all over the place, right? It's huge. But now, so what I did is you can see, I broke off a bunch of branches and pulled the thing down. And now, because I'm quite tall, I can just step over it. I can just step over it because I'm 183 centimeters or so. So anyway, there it is down there. I just didn't bring a machete or anything or a saw with me this time. I don't normally do that on this walk, so next time I'll bring it and I can just chop that up. But because I probably won't come for another week, there's a very good chance it'll be gone by then. Someone else will have done it. It's a mystery how that happens. But people just do it, you know? People just gets done, you know? It's nice. Anyway, I'm gonna cut this off and come in the open area. Okay, might as well show you this now. Okay, like even last week, see the water flowing through here? This was all dry. And look, the water's just flying off this, gushing out everywhere, overflowing, coming down. So it's a consequence, this part of the trail now is like a little river. It's like this for a good part of the year, actually. Yeah. Yeah, it makes me wonder. I don't have any water coming in the house. I don't know what's going on with that. Obviously not a lack of flow. Anyway, I'll have to figure that out later this afternoon. That's another mystery. The water to the house comes in. It's like this water here is what comes to the house. Can't really, anyway, I've gone on before. I don't really drink it. I can boil it and drink it. That's fine. But yeah. Yeah. Anyway, that's sort of, here I am in the open area, which I really love so much. So I guess that's it for today. I don't really have much else to say. Anyway, I feel like the walks are just getting more and more weird. Maybe not. Maybe they're becoming more interesting. Yeah? Just because I think it's weird doesn't necessarily mean it is weird. Although it could also mean that it's weird. Anyway, yeah. So the rain hasn't fallen. I'll probably get home before the rain starts up again, which is very nice. Might even be that lately the pattern's been deluge for a day or two. Mostly, though not always at night. And then like a few days of sun. You know, every year's a bit different. And one thing for me, of course, is this is my 6th rainy season, right? I don't know. I didn't grow up here. That's one issue with moving around, is you don't really know a place properly. It's just the reality of it. But, you know, I've kind of been a nomad-ish type human for quite a while, like 20 years, so I'm quite used to that aspect of it. So, is that it? It's the end. You know, it's the end of this video. Hope everyone's doing okay. Try not to get that COVID if you can help it. If it's still around. It's not really around here at all. Okay, ciao. À la prochaine. See you on the flip side. Ciao. Well, this always makes me chuckle a little. Okay, hang on a sec. Oh, shit. You can maybe see here, see how there's little steps carved into the dirt? Well, those were really prominent steps like a week ago. So I don't know. Whenever I see someone doing that, I'm going, oh, that's not going to last very long. One good rain and you can see how it is. And then one more good rain and it'll be almost flat again. Oh, ciao. Yeah.